Hello, hello, hello. Hi, I'm Puneeta. Welcome to the Sunday Cooking Club. I am a sustainability expert and food writer, and we are cooking amazing things today. Welcome to my kitchen. This is season 3 of the Sunday Cooking Club that's launching today, right here, right now. And this is a time where we cook together food that is not only great for our personal health, mental health in particular. If you read my work on Maple and Marigold, then and in other places, right? I write and do other things. If you know any of my work, then you know I talk often about foods that are great for our moods, for our mental health. And then I also talk about how we can make a change in our lives and make choices in the kitchen that are not only great for our personal health but also amazing for the planet. Like, it all starts with personal choices that we make right here in the kitchen. So I'm really excited to have you here for season 3 of the Sunday Cooking Club. I have my induction top right here and it continues to be well, it's our first episode, so I'm sure there'll be tech troubles and everything else that goes on in first episodes, right? So yay, welcome to my kitchen. This is the Sunday Cooking Club, and we're cooking, the theme of the day is half your meat, double the flavor. And so we're cooking one of my favorite dishes, the Good Mood Bolognese. So here's how the time will proceed. We'll start with now introductions, hi, hellos, and then I'll walk you through the ingredients. But before we get into the cooking, I will do an exercise that I often do in my kitchen, and I will be thrilled to have you join me this time. And then we'll walk through the recipe. There might be spots, places in the recording, in the video, that I'll move quickly, and that's really to get this going, the pot going, the dish going, and so that by the end of this we have a delicious meal on the table, right? That's the point of it all, to cook amazing, delicious things that are affordable, using techniques that are affordable, that are also planet friendly, using ingredients that are great for our health and also for the planet, because it's all about bringing the people and planet back together. So thank you for joining me in the kitchen. We will start with an exercise that I often do for people who are joining me from season 1 and 2 of the Sunday Cooking Club. You know this as my grounding exercise, and I often start my cooking with it, and that's really, it's a little bit of a peace and quiet time. I call it grounding because that's how I feel at the end of it. So if you're standing, shuffle the soles of your feet together so the feet are on the ground. If you're sitting, see if you can connect the feet on the ground. Close your eyes. I'm a little out of breath because I've been running around all day. So let's take a couple of deep breaths together. Today we will cook amazing, delicious food for ourselves and for people around us. The food is made using ingredients that are not only great for us and our soul, but also great for the planet. And we will do this together. There's another deep breath in. You can close your eyes if you wish. And out. Welcome to the Sunday Cooking Club. I always feel rested and grounded after doing this light exercise, this grounding exercise, and I hope you do too. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm delighted to have you here. Absolutely thrilled to have you here, especially since it's a special episode. Season 3, episode 1, we're cooking something delicious. And so I've got a lot of things in front of me. On the webpage below this video, you would have seen all of the ingredients, so they're kind of all listed out there. But I will show them off a little bit here. I also have my laptop in front of me so that I can go through the recipe. This recipe is a special one. I call it the Good Mood Bolognese, and it's special to me because it's also in my upcoming book. I mean, the book is still a year away, but this is a dish that has a special place in my heart because it came out of a lot of experimentation I wanted to do, because it's a take on the traditional Italian Bolognese. It's got a lot of Indian flavors in it, so you'll often see it described as the India-style Bolognese. And then I also do something drastic. Well, drastic for my family is that I cut half the meat out and I add in lentils or beans or whatever kind of legume I have in the pantry. And so we're going to do all of that and make something delicious, make a delicious dish at the end of it. So let's just go through the ingredients together. And so the other thing I'll do during this cooking workshop is I'll take questions. So this is a recording. And so I've been getting questions, especially for this dish, because I've cooked this dish a few times over the year. And I've cooked it at workshops and I've cooked it on TV too. And there are a few questions that I get every time. So I will tackle them. As we go along, as we cook. And then if you have questions that come up when you're cooking this dish, then you can add it on the webpage. So on Maple and Marigold, there's a spot to add in comments. You can add your comments there. Or of course, email me, Puneeta at mapleandmarigold.com. I'll get back to you. Or I'll tackle the answer in the next video I do, right? Okay, so let's turn our stoves on so that we can chat and also cook at the same time. Isn't that the best combination ever? So let's turn this on. As this is heating up, one of the things I love about induction cooking, and I've got my main induction cooktop that you see in the back behind me, is that it heats up. This is not a sponsored video in any way. As you know, my work is often not sponsored. These videos are never sponsored. And so what I'm sharing with you right now is my love for induction cooking, because there is very little energy waste, which, right, it's all about making choices that are great for the planet any which way we can. So I've got the stove on, and the ingredients that I have here are, let's list them out. So I've got the spices. I'll start with the spices first. I've got my masala box here. So this is the masala dabba, the traditional one. And so I've got coriander powder. I've got fennel seeds. These will go in later. I've got turmeric powder in here. And then I've also got ginger, garlic. I've got the lentils, and I've also got some broccoli. So you'll see in the ingredients, hard vegetables, any which way you have. I often put carrots in this. I didn't have carrots because I've been cooking with them all week long and kids have been eating, right? And so I've got some hardy, well, wilted kind of broccoli. And then I've got the stems of kale that I've been saving. So they're right here. And yeah, so the stove is coming up to a heat. I'm adding the oil in here. And while that's heating through, I'll show you the legumes I'm using. So in the list of ingredients, you'll see lentils. So I often use the French green lentils for this, or I use the brown lentils. In India, we call it the whole masoor. I use those because they cook in the same length of time as the meat. And today I'm using black beans. So these are actually canned black beans, and we love them because they kind of mush up together. And I'm making this, I call this I call this my good mood bolognese because it really blends in a lot of flavors that are great for our gut health. And whatever is good for our gut is actually great for our brain, because our gut and brain are deeply connected, as we know now. So let's add in a few things. So I've got my fennel seeds in here. So I'm adding those in here. That's how we're starting this pan. So I heated the pan up, and I've got the oil in there that I added in here. And then in go the fennel seeds. And they will start to brown really quickly. In the fennel seeds, I will add bay leaves. And that's the joy of live cooking, right? Or cooking on video. You might end up splashing yourself. Hold on, I need to get a... Yes, so if your pan is sputtering, put a lid on it. Don't injure yourself like I have. I think I might have got a few splashes of oil on me. Okay, so in here, you would add a bay leaf and hold that thought. Yes, so I'm adding in a bay leaf. Sorry, I got a little distracted because the oil is really hot. Okay, so in here, we'll saute this for a minute. The recipe will be coming in on the next newsletter that you see, and you'll see the recipe in there, and it's easy to follow. Hopefully, if you have questions that come up, or if you want to swap things around. I know a lot of cooking shows and cookbook people don't like to swap things around. I love to swap things around. So if you have something, especially an option that you think is more sustainable or more healthy, well, sustainable and more healthy, well, send me a note and we'll figure out if it works in this recipe. Okay, so in here we're adding the garlic, onions, and I'm also adding in some ginger. So you won't see ginger on the recipe. So I've got it. You know what happened? I made a rookie mistake. There was some oil in the pan, and right, and so that's why it's sputtering, like it's going a little bit messy. And so in here I've added the garlic, and I've also added in the onions. I'm going to add in some ginger, and I'll tell you why. Ginger is one of those ingredients that is great for our digestive health. And if you feel, you or your family or your kids or whoever you're cooking for, and if it's just you, if you've been feeling some digestive issues, well, add in some ginger to your next meal. It soothes any kind of cramping, gas. We're talking about all of that. And oftentimes this week we've been having a lot of legumes, and we've also been eating out. It's just been such a messy day, and so we've been ordering takeout, which, it's all about home cooked food for me, but it doesn't always work like that in real life, right? And so I find we've all got a few tummy troubles, and so add in the ginger. If you add the ginger in at this stage, the flavor really mellows out, especially if you're one of those people that don't like the flavor of ginger in your mouth. Well, add it in here. Okay, so we're gonna let that cook. I'll turn this up to a medium, and I'm going to turn my laptop back on, just so that we can go through the recipe together. Okay, perfect. We're on track. And so in here, we're adding in the ground spices. And so I've added in the whole spices so far. So we've got the whole fennel seeds and the bay leaf in here. In that, we're adding in the ground turmeric, salt, pepper, and then add in your lentils too. So if you were using rinsed, dried lentils, you'd add those in now. I'm using black beans and I'm adding them in right here, right now. I know, right? There should be a song. Hang on, there is a song. So we're going to just stir this along. And then we're also adding in the meat. So this recipe halves the meat that we would normally have. And so this is approximately 200 grams of meat. So all of the climate research points to we need to cut our red meat way, way down. And what that means, what way, way down really means, is that one serving a week is the best combination for your personal health and for planetary health. There's a lot of research behind this. Hold on for a second. I'm just going to put this away in the sink and be back. That's me washing my hands. And I'm back. Okay. So in here I've got the meat. And so half your meat, if you have watched any of the episodes, any of the segments I've done recently, I've been talking about half your meat. And that really comes from the greenhouse gases, the emissions that, that we're trying to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and cutting down our meat is actually one of the most important ways to cut our greenhouse gas emissions in food. And so we'll let that cook. And then I'm also chopping up some of these stalks. So this is kale. These are kale stalks. I often save them in a box and I make stock with all of this, with some stalks and garlic peels and chicken, or the leftover chicken bones do a really fantastic job at making stock. But the stalks are also excellent to add into any dish that takes about 30 minutes to cook. So this dish takes about 40 minutes, a good 40 minutes to cook. And so I add it in here and let it simmer away along with the spices, and it's adding so much fiber and delicious, delicious flavor. Okay, this is chugging along really well. I am going to put the lid on if I can find it. If you know where I put the lid, well, tell me, because I totally can't. Yeah, episode 1 of Sunday Cooking Club. There's tech trouble and literally lid finding trouble. Okay, we'll just abandon it. We can do what I do, what my mom does, is to cover it with a plate. Let's do that. Covering the pan is actually a really great way to make it cook faster. Okay, next step. So we've got the spices in here. I just found my lid. Silly, silly me, right? Okay, so we've done the spices. So one of the questions I often get at this stage is, why did I add the whole spices at the beginning and then ground spices later? It's really because the whole spices add flavor to the oil at the outset. They add a roasted kind of a deeper flavor. And the ground spices, when you add them later on in the cooking, they actually add flavor, a different, lighter, fresher flavor. And they hit the palate first. It's really interesting. But they both have a purpose. And so putting them at different times in the cooking is actually really great. And I love whole spices. I mean, I love cooking with whole spices because you can, whole spices stay in the fridge so much longer, right? They don't go rancid, they don't go bad. The blends and the powders often do. So the next ingredient that we're adding in here is tomato puree. So I've added 1 cup of puree. You can follow the recipe, and the recipe often has 2 cups of puree. I'm adding 1 cup of puree and 1 cup of liquid. So I'm adding in some water. So time that thought. Another question that I often get as soon as I open that can of tomato puree, and so this is uncooked tomatoes that have been pureed. Some of my favorite ingredients. Passata tomatoes also works really well here. If you forgot to put the salt and pepper, like I have, this is a great time to catch up. And so we're just going to cook this up. So this is the Sunday Cooking Club. In case you missed the beginning, this is the Sunday Cooking Club. And we'll be, a new video, a new workshop will be dropped it's a free monthly event, so it'll drop every last Sunday of the month. I don't remember the schedule in my head, but it's on the website, on Maple and Marigold. So make sure you're signed up for the newsletter. And also, if you're on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, because I find, even though I'm trying to step away from social media as much as I can, I find a lot of my updates are going on the newsletter and then afterwards on Instagram. So if you're on either, you'll hear about it. So I've added the pepper, and I haven't added the salt yet. Oh, I did. I added the salt, so we're good. Okay. This is moving along. I'll come back in a few minutes. I'm going to pause this video and then let this cook, and we'll be back in a few minutes. So this has been bubbling away for a good 8-10 minutes, and we've reached kind of a cooked consistency on the lentils. So I used the black beans, and if you're using the brown lentils or the French green lentils, the green lentils, those are beautiful. In total, this dish will take about 30-35 minutes of cooking time. If you have extra time, keep going, because it does taste more mellow as time progresses. The flavors really develop beautifully. In fact, this is one of those dishes, I'm going to put the lid back on, but this is one of those dishes that if you needed to put it in the fridge for a couple of days, the flavors would just deepen and taste even more wonderful. Okay, so while this is cooking away, if you, hold on a second, if you have balsamic vinegar, this is one of my beautiful, beautiful ingredients that does so well. I often add a couple of tablespoons at the end. It gives that lovely Bolognese flavor. And then with the turmeric, it's totally India style, right? And because it's half your meat, double the flavor. I mean, I tell you, it is double the flavor. So I hope you're signed up for the newsletter so that you can see the next Sunday Cooking Club when it does come up. And every month we'll really get together to cook people and planet friendly food. I mean, all of the options that I will share. This month was a little bit special. You would have seen a big splash on TV. I did a couple of TV shows this week, and I'm doing a few more next week because it's Earth Day. But really, Earth Day is every day. And so I'll be doing a, well, semi-big splash. Every time there is a cooking club coming up, you'll see me in various places. And then come last Sunday of the month, we will cook. We will cook together. And the wonderful thing is about this new format, for those of you who were there for season 1 and season 2 of Sunday Cooking Club, you might have seen that I either did it on Instagram or on Zoom, and it was harder to find the older videos. And so this way we'll keep them all in one place on Maple and Marigold. And if you're cooking, for example, if you're cooking June's dish, but come the week after you want to go back and cook this Good Mood Bolognese again, well, you can come back and watch this video. The recipe and the ingredients are all there on that page, so it's easier to follow. Because the point here is to motivate people to make easy, simple, sustainable food that tastes great and is great for our bellies and our brain, like all of that, right? People and planet together in so many different ways. And so, okay, this is bubbling away super well, and it's actually looking really good. Okay, the theme the next time around, while we're waiting for this to cook, the theme the next time around is going to be chickpeas. I'm very excited. It's June and it's chickpeas. No, it'll be May and chickpeas. And chickpeas are wonderful, wonderful. Like legumes are, they have a carbon footprint that's 90 times less than meat. So meat, as we were talking earlier, greenhouse gas emissions through the roof. There are so many problems with how much meat we consume. At the same time, it's hard for most of us to give up meat, right, and go vegan. And so for those of us who can't go vegan, well, how about we halve our meat and replace it with legumes? So we've talked about halving our meat today, and then in the next one, we'll actually talk about legumes in a little bit more detail. So there's also a photo challenge with the Sunday Cooking Club, as you may have seen. So when you do cook this, I will be thrilled to see your photos. So email them to me or tag me on social media if you're sharing them over there. I am Facebook and Instagram. I am Maple and Marigold, right? Surprise, surprise. And on Twitter, which really nobody's sharing cooking videos on Twitter, so let's not talk about Twitter. And yeah, so there's a photo challenge, and every month we'll be updating the photos on Maple and Marigold and also in the newsletter. So your photos will likely get featured in one of these places. So I would love to see what you're cooking. If you're doing prep work, ingredients, whatever else, send them my way, tag me, and so we can share with each other. And right, it's the point of all of this is to motivate everyone. Cooking at home for ourselves and for our families is, I tell you, the hardest thing there is. But it's one of the best ways that we can make a difference in our kitchens through our personal actions. And so when we do cook, well, let's use that opportunity to encourage each other and push each other on, right? And photos do that so well. Okay, so this has been cooking away and it actually looks really great. I'm going to turn this off and I will plate this and I'll show you what it all looks like in a few minutes. Hi, welcome back. And so another 10 minutes have passed. The sauce is ready. I was going to plate it. That was the plan initially, to plate it beautifully and show you the end result. But I actually wanted to show you how the sauce looks when it's done, because I feel that's really important to get the flavors and to get the deep flavors that I can smell them in the kitchen. I wish you were in the kitchen with me right now. But I wonder if you can see, and I'll take a photo of this later on, but the pooling of the oil, and we didn't really add very much oil. It's the oil that collects at the top of any kind of a curry gravy sauce that has been allowed to cook for a while. So this is what sets it apart from a regular stew, is when you let the flavors deepen and the stages of cooking, in the oil first and then the onions and then the ginger, garlic, meat, lentils and all of that, the stages, and then as you let the flavors develop and cook at the end, this is victory. Where I'll take a photo of this. It looks beautiful. So I'm adding some coriander. You can add bay leaves, you can add basil leaves, and I'm serving it with millet. So millet is my current favorite. I've been talking about it in various places. And millet is a whole grain that actually takes the same length of time to cook, same cooking time as rice. And so I love it because it's a way to switch it up. One of the great things about eating sustainably. One of the great things about eating sustainably is that you can actually have diverse foods on your plate, enjoy the different flavors, the different textures, and actually know that it is great for our personal health and for the health of the planet. I talk about food diversity again all the time. I talked about it recently on an episode of The Social. So you can go back and watch that, and there's a post on Maple and Marigold. Okay, dinner is done. Sunday Cooking Club is done. I hope your dish is done as well. You can always pause in the places where I cut away and I allowed the sauce to cook. Pause it so you can come back and watch it. If technology is okay, we will also put like different timings in the YouTube videos so people can go back and rewatch, especially the parts in the middle, right, where I'm adding in things and stirring and cooking along. Sometimes that I like to go back and watch and pause and play again so I can get the right flavors. Totally do that. It's the reason why we're keeping it on Maple and Marigold and on YouTube, so that people can go back and watch it again and again. And remember the photo challenge? Tag me, send me your pictures. I want to see other people cooking, and I know other people want to see people cooking too. And sign up for the Sunday Cooking Club. Registration is open, it's free. Let's cook amazing things that are great for us and for the planet. People and planet back together. Yay! Okay, thank you for coming to my kitchen. Nice to have you here, and hopefully another time, another day, we'll do this in person. See you later. Bye.